It gets harder to pray, not easier. Sit with me, won't you, just for a little bit? The waiting is the worst. But talking about it helps, at least a little. I don't really know what there's left to say. You know the story, don't you? Believe what you will, it was an actual angel. He even had a name, Gabriel. Gabriel said, the power of the Most High was the Spirit of God. Oh, poor Joseph. Poor sweet Joseph. We could laugh about it years later, but at that time, my poor sweet husband. I thought that would be the hardest thing I would ever be asked to do. How could I face my family and my friends? How would they ever understand? But it was an honor to be chosen, to be called to be the mother of God's own Son. And I responded, behold, I am a servant of the Lord. Let it be to me according to your word. Over the years, that became my prayer. I grew into understanding more and more. At the temple, I told you about Simeon, right? So he answered and confirmed everything that Gabriel had told me. But he looked me straight in the eye, holding my baby boy. And he said to me, a sword will pierce your soul also. Don't get me wrong, he spoke of hope and promise and glory, but it all had to come through suffering. When we had to hide out among the faithful in Egypt, or when we were called to come back home, that was right when Joseph's business was taking off. Or that time my son, the carpenter, went out into the wilderness for 40 days. And he came back noticeably changed. I had to pray then, Lord, let it be according to your word. I don't understand. You made a promise. My life is in your hands. I'll trust you, Lord. For I am your servant, Lord. Let it be to me according to your word. Well, and then there was that time that we lost him in the crowd. We'd gone up for the festival, same as every year, family, friends all around. And the children would just laugh and play and run around and chase each other. I thought he was with Joseph. Joseph thought he was with me. But neither of us could remember the last time we saw him. Oh, we ran. Our fear chased us all the way back to Jerusalem. We looked in all the usual places, retracing our steps. We even went to the pool of Bethesda where the sick and the diseased gathered, and the Antonia fortress where all the Roman soldiers were housed. Well, now he knew better than to touch a leper, and he most certainly understood you do not get on the bad side of a Roman soldier. But we had to look. We even looked among the graves. Finally, we thought, we'll go to the temple, we'll pray, we'll ask God to send us a sign. Maybe he would give us another Gabriel or another Simeon to show us the way. Well, I knew my heart. I knew what my will was. I wanted my boy back, and I wanted him back safe and sound. But I had to pray. Lord, let it be to me according to your word. Do you know what? We found him at the temple. He was sitting there, not far from where Simeon stood those years before. And he was teaching and asking questions, amazing everyone, as always. He didn't understand why we were worried. Didn't you know, he said. Yes, I suppose I should have known. Oh, how I should have known. I didn't understand him that time at Cana, but that didn't matter. The servants did as he asked, and the wine flowed. But it didn't get any easier after that. In some ways, it became more difficult to understand. I remember this one time I had to put my foot down. He had been saying the most unbelievable things, and the rumors of miracles had the whole neighborhood in an uproar. Joseph must have been gone about 12 years at that time. So several of us went, and we were going to take Jesus home and talk some sense into him. Now, I knew he was supposed to do something special, but it wasn't supposed to look like this. Do you know what he said? We were outside some ridiculous house. It was just packed full of peasants, and they were whispering Messiah. And he just sat there teaching. Messiah is a very dangerous word. It can get you into trouble. And my son had important things to do for God. So I sent word up ahead through the throng. I couldn't push my way through there. And pretty soon we noticed kind of a ripple go through the crowd, and someone laughed inappropriately. And he proclaimed a different family. He said the one who hears the word of God and lives it out, that is his mother and his brothers and his sister. Well, I never. After all I gave up for him, after we sacrificed time and time again to give him a future, spitting mad all the way home. But that night, I just prayed those old familiar words, Lord, let it be to me according to your word. But how? How can God's anointed be in jail? How can God's special son be on trial for blasphemy of all things? How is that even possible? What if they convict him? They wouldn't stone him, would they? What if they stone him? What sense do all the promises make if it just ends now? Why would God rescue him time and time again just to let him die? What kind of stupid plan is this anyway? I know. I'm sorry. Like I said, it just gets harder to pray. Oh, if only Gabriel would give me a clear word now. Oh, how I wish Joseph were here. Oh, Lord, let it be to me according to your word.